afternoon. Today on Business Success in Six with Stacie, I have Steve Lonsway here from Stone Arch Brewpub in Appleton, Wisconsin. Steve, thanks for jumping on with me today.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
It is my pleasure. I'm really excited to share your story and the history behind your business with our clients and community. So if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you 6 questions about your business.
Fantastic. Let's go.
All right, here we go. When people ask you what your business does, how do you describe it?
Well, in the short answer is we offer quality products in a historic atmosphere and all that with great service. Our main goal is to make people happy.
I love that. Now, you talk about a historic location. How historic is the building?
So the building that we reside in was built in 1858 as a brewery. It spent most of its life as a brewery. At Prohibition, they did some non-alcoholic products to keep it alive. And then in the late 60s to early 70s, it changed ownership and a restaurant started here. And in the late 80s, one of the building owners bought the restaurant out and then started a brewery. So it was actually the 3rd brew pub in the state of Wisconsin. And since then, the other 2 have shut down. So we're the oldest continually brewing brew pub in the state of Wisconsin. And then we took over in 2004 and changed it up and all that fun thing.
So that actually leads me into my second question. What were your plans when you started your business in 2004, and how have they changed?
Well, we started in 2004, so we really set out to educate the consumer about craft beer, and we jumped on sourcing local right away, which now is everybody does it. Nobody did it back then. It was even before the trends hit. So we feel as though that we were a part of starting that trend in our area. The big thing that we wanted to promote is community and that community involvement that was so important for us.
That's really, really interesting. Thank you for sharing that with me. And you've been brewing even before 2004. You shared with me before I pressed record that you've been brewing since the 90s and studied that.
Yeah, I started homebrewing during my college days in the early 90s and took it pretty seriously. Like as I said earlier, we started a homebrew store, and when I ran that full time, I was on fire. I was reading every book I could get my hands on. I was trying all the new equipment that was coming out, trying new ingredients that were coming out. At that time was a lot. And then decided to take it to the next level and went to school at the Siebel Institute of Brewing Technology in Chicago, Illinois.
Wow.
And then I worked for our one of the competing breweries in town for 6 years as their corporate brewmaster before taking this place on. So yeah, I've been brewing for most of my life.
That's wonderful. The next question I have for you is, what is the biggest way that you impact the community?
Our community involvement is really second to none. I know that sounds biased, but it should. We realized early on that if you support the community will support you. So really, since day one, it was hard for us to say no to anybody that asked for a donation request, whether it be for a benefit or a nonprofit organization or what have you. So we were very, very giving through all our years. And we also, as a cornerstone in the community, we were asked to be part of sponsorship teams for some big events in our area. And we always want to take advantage of that because it was a great opportunity for us to obviously help the community, but get our brand out there. And we've been Mile of Music, which is one of the biggest events we have in our town. It's going into our 10th year. We were sponsors from day one. We work with EAA, which is a huge worldwide fly-in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. We work with them. That was a relatively new partnership. Like I said, nonprofit organizations. We helped finance basically a nonprofit organization for 7 years before COVID hit, which was it's a nonprofit that helped take people with challenges and get over their challenges to get back in the workforce. And they had taken over an old country club. And so we financed that building, and we would hold events there and such. So Our community involvement in the years have reached well over $500,000 in product and services that we've done. So it's, for a small restaurant, that's pretty impressive, I think, and we like to shine light on that.
That is very impressive. And thank you and congratulations for all that service. And that, besides that, just being one of the pioneers in using locally sourced resources is absolutely incredible. So all those things show that you really do care about the community.
We really
Thank
do. Absolutely.
So what is one challenge that you have faced that other business owners could learn from?
That question stumped me at first. So really, when you look at the restaurant business, I think our challenges are not that much different than most restaurants have went through the years. I really think being a restaurant is challenging enough.
Mhm.
And obviously the pandemic was the biggest challenge. I know that's a broad answer, and everybody went through a lot of changes there.
Mhm.
Um, so that was a huge challenge. But the biggest thing, I think, to answer the question is making sure that I balance time from family and work and
Mhm.
friends, and make sure that I don't get overwhelmed with the work thing, because it can easily happen. And the first 4, 5, 6 years, there wasn't balance. It was work. I got into a really good balance, and then of course the pandemic hit, threw it off a little bit. But I'm starting to get back to it. The biggest challenge is making sure you're taking care of number one.
Absolutely. Yeah. If we don't put on our own oxygen mask first, we're not going to be able to help others. So that's really great
Absolutely,
advice. Thank you for sharing that.
for sure.
Next question I have for you is, what does the future look like to you? And do you have an exit plan?
So the future, because we just opened our second location a little over a year ago, our future plans are just to keep growing the business as we can. My exit plan really is pushed on pause right now, because I have a daughter that's graduating business school in just a couple of months. I
Wow.
want to see what her involvement might be, or her if she wants to be involved. I don't know any of that. I didn't want to put any pressure on her. So I really want to feel that out first. And then my second daughter graduates in a year from business school as well. So they're really going to dictate the direction of my exit plan. Whether they want to be involved or not, it's too early to tell. So it is a top priority, but I have the pause button pushed right now.
Yes, that makes absolute sense to me.
Yep.
So last question I have for you is, all subjects open. What inspires you most?
It's inspiration comes from, and always really has, to seeing people enjoying the product that we put in front of them. That's very important to me. But even more important than that, and this is a relatively new thing, because we're actually going through a brand refresh right now,
Okay.
um, and learning a lot along the way. And we're very, very new into this brand refresh. But talking to some consumer or customers a while back at an event, and they were talking about how important that we were to the community. And again, like you said it earlier, we're a cornerstone of the community. That's all the inspiration I could possibly need. It just felt so good to be recognized as, because we're the old guys on the block. There's a lot of new brew pubs splashing up all around us, and and restaurants too. They're all over. It's just nice to be known that we're kind of the I can't remember what a competitor said. Like, I'm like the grandfather of it all, and it felt
Aw,
really good. So that's
that's
pretty
good.
inspirational to know that we are cared for, and people care about who we are to the community.
Absolutely. That has to feel wonderful. And thank you for all that you do for the community. Now, if somebody wants to go visit one of your two locations or get in contact with you guys, how would they do so?
So we have two locations. Our brew pub, which I call the mothership, it started in 2004. We're at 1004 South Old Oneida Street, Appleton, Wisconsin. We're right across the river from the heart of our downtown. And then a year ago, we opened up a second location in the neighboring village of Little Chute. Now that we don't brew there, so we call it Stone Arch Tide House. We have the same beers available there as we do at our Appleton location, but our food menu is about 50 or 60% the same, with some differences, with the idea that you don't go to one or the other, you come to both. That's the whole concept. So just look up stonearchbrewpub.com. There's a way to contact us right on that. And I respond to those emails pretty readily and pretty fast. So
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking your time today, Steve, to share your businesses with us. And we look forward to a very prosperous 2023 for you.
All right. Thank you, Stacie. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.